Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to MiM Monday. This is Mickey in Minutes Live. I'm your host, Nick Lazaga, and yeah, let's talk about some of the latest Disney news. If you've never been a part of a MiM Monday or heard this show before, we go through the latest Disney news and we just make this a conversation. So I see some people already joining in the chat. This is live. If you're in the chat, please chime in with your comments on these stories. If you're watching this as a playback or listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, then please let me know in the comments your thoughts on some of these stories that we're going to talk about today. So welcome in. How you doing? Let me just start off by saying that this is going to be the final MiM Monday of 2025. So we have a lot going on with Christmas and New Year's and all this stuff coming up. So this will be the last live show of 2025. We will be back with more MiM Mondays on January 12th. And on that day, I'm sure we're going to have a ton of news to talk about. So yeah, but let's get right into the news for this week. I have a bunch of people joining the chat. What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for hanging out. So I want to start off today's show talking about something that I really like, that I'm a huge fan of, and that is Lorcana. Are there any Lorcana fans in the chat or watching a playback? Let me know in the comments. Put like a little magic symbol or something, little stars or something if you're a Lorcana fan. But specifically, we're going to talk about Lorcana being a part of Epcot International Festival of the Arts this year. So it's really cool. I've mentioned this before, but they gave a whole ton more details about what's going to be happening with Lorcana at Epcot. So this is the first time that Lorcana is being featured. If you're not sure what Lorcana is, I should probably tell you that. Right? Lorcana is the Disney trading card game. It started a couple years ago, and every Lorcana card has its own unique piece of artwork, and the game is super fun. I'm a huge fan of Lorcana. I love playing the game and collecting the cards. But like I said, every card has original art on them. So, of course, that makes sense for them to be featured at Epcot Festival of the Arts. So, looking at Disney Parks blog here, it says that throughout the park, you can join an exciting collection quest where, as an Illumineer, you get to open Disney Lorcana booster packs, yay, and trade cards with other guests in the Illumineers Lounge. So, us Illumineers, we get our own lounge during this festival that's going to be located in the Morocco Pavilion. And once you complete this collection quest, you can redeem a limited edition Magical Places promo card. So, again, if you don't know about Lorcana, every card has a rarity symbol on the bottom that indicates whether it's a common card or, super rare, or even some of them really, really rare ones like legendaries or enchanted. And there's other rarities as well. But this Magical Places is a new type of rarity that came out when they started doing stuff in the parks. I believe they did one in California Adventure not too long ago, a quest similar to this, and the symbol is a little castle turret on the bottom of the card. And so what they've done is they've taken some of the other cards from previous sets and kind of changed them up a little bit and added a little castle turret, the Magical Places promo symbol. So the ones that they did for this are Donald Duck Pie Slinger, Rapunzel Appreciative Artist, and Stitch Rockstar. So this is really cool. These look like foil cards in the pictures. They're going to be all shiny and cool. Now, I will say, I already have all these cards in their regular forms, but Donald Duck Pie Slinger, I actually have as an enchanted card. Ooh, look at that. So this is one of the enchanted cards that I own that we open randomly in a pack, and I'm super stoked on, and of course it's in this protective plastic here. But yeah, but that's not all they're doing at Epcot. So they're also going to have an event called Ink and Find. According to Disney Parks blog, this is where you'll be sent on an adventure to find the larger-than-life trading cards around Epcot. So there's going to be, I guess, big blown-up versions of some of these Lorcana cards around Epcot, and that's awesome. When you locate a card, you're going to match it to the special ink stickers on your complimentary festival quest book to receive an additional limited edition Magical Places promo card. And of course, it says while supplies last. But I'm guessing it's only those 3 promo cards. That's all that I see right now, unless they do more, unless they release more details later. But this quest book sounds really cool, and ink stickers, and this sounds so fun. I have no plans to go to Festival of the Arts this year, but gosh, I wish I could go because, again, I'm a huge Lorcana fan, and to get these promo cards and to just have this experience, take pictures with these, larger than life Lorcana cards, and have the quest book, and hang out in the Illumineers Lounge in the Morocco Pavilion. That all sounds so awesome. So it also says on Disney Parks blog, to participate in both events, you can pick up your festival quest book on the bridge to World Celebration, on the bridge from World Celebration to World Showcase. When you've completed your adventures, you can pick up your Magical Places promo card from the Illumineers Lounge in the Morocco Pavilion or in Figment's Inspiration Station at the Odyssey. Whenever I've been to Festival of the Arts, Figment's Inspiration Station has always been one of the coolest places for me. I just love everything that they do at the Odyssey for these festivals. Now, again, I've said this on multiple shows before, but the fact that you get to pick up a promo card in Figment's Inspiration Station, again, makes me wonder, are they going to surprise everybody and have a Figment Lorcana card? I mean, wouldn't that be amazing? That would be the kind of thing that they would keep a secret until, I guess, the first day when the internet gets flooded with it, and I'm sure eBay too. But, I don't know. They probably won't do that, but it's really nice to think about, what if they did? What if they had a Figment promo card for this event? But again, that's not all. There's more Lorcana at Epcot. So the last thing it says is that on the way to World Showcase, make sure to stop and get a photo at the Artful Photo Op. This photo op is going to feature card art from Disney Lorcana's set Fabled. So the cards that they're using for these backdrops are the Mickey and Minnie Mouse Fabled cards. So this is Mickey as Brave Little Tailor, and then Sweetheart Princess. And in these cards, they're really pretty cards. They're riding a carousel, and she's like blowing kisses at Mickey or something, and it's just the cutest backdrop. Well, cutest cards, and I'm sure they're gonna make a really cute backdrop as well. So, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of Lorcana stuff. So, when they first announced that Lorcana was gonna be a part of this, I kind of thought that they would just be like maybe a quest game, maybe some photo ops, but they're going all out for this. The Ink and Find activity with the quest book, and the Lorcana Illumineer Lounge, all this stuff just sounds so cool. They haven't announced if any Lorcana artists are going to be there signing cards or anything, but that would be incredible. So if they're not doing that, maybe next year. I know there's a ton of artists already that are going to be at Festival of the Arts. So, but I'm just really happy with all the stuff that they're doing. Again, I'm not going to be there for it, but I will be living through all the Instagram feeds of everybody who's getting to enjoy all this really cool Lorcana content at Epcot Festival of the Arts. So let me know in the chat down below, or in the comments wherever you're listening or watching. Are you a Lorcana fan, and are you going to be at Epcot to take part in this really cool Lorcana adventure? Let me know. I'm really curious. And if you are, send me pictures. I really want to see this. All right. So the next story I want to talk about today is park hours extended for a limited time at Walt Disney World. So as we're in the thick of it, the holiday season, that is, there's they're increasing the park hours so people can enjoy it for longer, enjoy other parks for longer, which I just have to say, sometimes the park hours are very, very short, I guess. Like they end really early, and it doesn't make sense to me because, a lot of tourists and people are on vacation all the time, not just during the holidays. So I feel like the park should always be open later, but I digress. So let's talk about some of these new hours. So from December 28th through January 3rd, the Magic Kingdom will open at 8 a.m. Instead of 9 a.m. and early entry for resort guests at 7:30 a.m. That's early. That's like Animal Kingdom like entry times. That's crazy. December 29th and 28th, the park will be open until 11 p.m. Also until 11 p.m. on January 1st and January 2nd and January 3rd. Those days it was previously announced to be closing at 10, so that's another extra hour there. And then December 30th and December 31st. Well, actually, these are separate times. December 30th, it'll be open till midnight. December 31st, that is New Year's Eve, the Magic Kingdom will be open until 1 a.m. So they're going to have fireworks, Fantasy in the Sky fireworks on December 30th and 31st for New Year's. So if you don't know, Fantasy in the Sky, that's classic Magic Kingdom fireworks. And they're running the show exclusively for New Year's Eve. But, you don't have to be there on the crowded December 31st to enjoy that. December 30th as well, we'll have these New Year's Eve style fireworks, which it's really just Fantasy in the Sky. And that's pretty amazing. So let me just say, there's been times, before COVID where I remember staying at Magic Kingdom till 1 a.m. just on a random Saturday. Like it wasn't that big of a deal. It was weird for them to close early on those, on the times before COVID. And I really feel like after COVID, they started closing early and just never looked back. So it's nice to be able to experience the parks late. I know I'm the guy who always stays in the park as long as humanly possible. So, one time I was at the park so late, I saw them closing those metal doors in front of the shops on Main Street. Actually, that's happened more than once. Hey, what's going on? Thanks for joining in the chat. We're talking about Disney park hours being increased for the month of December and January. Some days in January. So thanks for hanging out. But yeah, I would stay as late as possible. I still do, whenever I can. But this is nice. So let's move on to Disney's Hollywood Studios. They also are having their park hours extended. So Disney's Hollywood Studios will be open at 8:30 a.m. instead of 9 on December 28th, 29th, and 30th. January 1st, January 2nd, and January 3rd. So opening early, half an hour early for those days. And then on those days, early entry will begin at 8 a.m. So you get that extra half an hour. And then, of course, it's going to open, it's going to open 9 a.m. on December 31st, early entry at 8:30. Now, they're also doing New Year's Eve fireworks. So, but they're not doing it both days. They're doing it only on December 31st. So, the park is going to close at 9 p.m. on December 28th, 29th, 30th, January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. On New Year's Eve, December 31st, it will be open until midnight. And like I said, they're going to have fireworks. So that means the park's going to close at midnight at the same time the fireworks begin. So they're going to have their New Year's fireworks. And then right after that's done, bye-bye. You got to go after that. So, hey, what's going on? Thanks for joining in the chat. We're talking about the park hours changing at Walt Disney World for the rest of this year. So thanks for hanging out. Over at Disney's Animal Kingdom Park, Now, this is the early bird park, of course. So Disney's Animal Kingdom will open at 8 a.m. from December 28th through January 3rd, with early entry at 7:30. And then here's the good thing, because if you know anything about Animal Kingdom, you know that it's always closing early. It closes at 6 p.m., guys. That's ridiculous. I don't understand that. But they're extending it to be closing at 8 p.m. Don't get your hopes up. It's only December 28th and 29th that you get to stay till 8 p.m. Let me just say, Animal Kingdom did all that really great work over at Pandora, World of Avatar, adding all the bioluminescence and all the glowing features and all that cool stuff. And you never, ever get to see it. You know, it's never open late enough to enjoy it. I remember when the first time I ever went to Pandora, it was actually on my honeymoon. It was only about a month after Pandora opened, and they were doing like late extra magic hours at Animal Kingdom to enjoy Pandora, and we were seriously there till about 2 a.m, and it was amazing. It was so fun. So that park deserves to be open later, especially Pandora. I understand animals and stuff needing, hours, extra hours to go to sleep and wind down and be away from the noise. I get that. But maybe they just close down certain parts of the park that have all the animals and leave open, other parts of the park for guests to enjoy later. Because Animal Kingdom is a beautiful park. People need to enjoy it and see how beautiful it is at night. But anyways, the Animal Kingdom will close at 7 p.m. on December 30th and 31st. Obviously, no fireworks on December 31st for Disney's Animal Kingdom. They don't do pyro over there. It would disturb the animals. It's going to close at 8 p.m. on January 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And then they're going to have extended evening hours on January 1st from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. See, there it is, 10 p.m. They could do it. They just choose not to. So, hopefully people show up to this extra magic hour and they realize that there is demand for Animal Kingdom at night. So let me know. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Do you think Animal Kingdom should be enjoyed at night? Or do you think it's okay that it typically closes at around 6 or 7? Do you agree with me? Do you think Pandora should be enjoyed at night? So let me know. But let's talk about Epcot. Of course, Epcot. Epcot's kind of the place to be for New Year's Eve. They do it up right. They have parties. They have all these silent discos and stuff where you wear the headphones, and it gets crazy over at Epcot on New Year's Eve. So let's talk about their hours. So the park will still open at 9 a.m. the week of New Year's, and it will close at 9:30 p.m. on December 28th through December 30th. Another side note, this is another park that has no business closing at 9 or 9:30. That's ridiculous with all the bars and restaurants and nightlife that they've tried to give us over at the World Showcase. There's no reason for it to close early. But anyways, it's going to close at 1 a.m. on December 31st. And then, of course, the rest of the week closing at 9 p.m. like it usually does. So, again, that New Year's Eve celebration is pretty wild. I haven't been there personally, but I've seen so many videos, and it just looks so crowded and loud. And I will say I'm the kind of person who typically doesn't appreciate hearing normal music in the theme parks. By that I mean like radio music or dance music. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that. I feel like it breaks the immersion in the parks. I always need to hear themed music in the parks. So, besides the fact that it's crazy crowded on these days, that's kind of part of the reason why I don't like to go, or I don't really want to go for New Year's Eve, because of all the DJs and the weird stuff that just feels out of place at Epcot. But anyways, they will be doing the Cheers to the New Year fireworks at Epcot. So let me know, are you planning on visiting the parks, the Disney parks, or Walt Disney World, I guess, for the New Year's? Are you going to be in one of the parks for New Year's Eve? Are you going to brave those crowds? Let me know. If you are, good luck to you. That's something I don't think I could ever do. Hey, what's going on? Thanks for joining the chat. This is MiM Monday. We're talking about the latest Disney news. So thanks for hanging out. Let's move on to the next story, shall we? So, let's talk about Rock and Roller Coaster. I'm a huge Rock and Roller Coaster fan. I always have been. Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith has my heart. And as you probably know, it's going away. It's going away forever. It's going to be, kind of replaced. It's going to be rethemed to Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. And like we already talked about before, the pre-show with Aerosmith, that's already gone. They got rid of that pre-show without telling anybody. It was completely unannounced. It just closed one day. Excuse me. So now, guests riding it just bypass the pre-show and go right into the ride. But they've actually officially announced the closing date for Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. So it will close on March 2nd forever. No more Aerosmith after that. And then it will be closed completely as they finish the retheme into Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. And that will open sometime in the summer of 2026. So it should be a pretty quick turnaround because they're already working on the pre-show, which is where a lot of the animatronics and detail are going. And from what I understand, from what I've heard, the actual ride, the ride-through element with all like the Hollywood sign and the street signs and that big donut, like a lot of that is not changing. That's already, pretty cartoony and out there, and it kind of matches the Muppet vibe already. So they're going to, install the new audio. I guess install is a weird word. Maybe just turn on whatever new audio they have. Retheme that load area. I'm sure that it's probably still going to be the parking garage structure. They'll probably just add some Muppet flair to it. And that's about it. The only real difference to the ride is going to be the music, unless they have some surprises up their sleeves, which I really hope they do. I'm thinking like, how they do the Incredicoaster, where they have the static figures of the Incredibles, and they don't really need to move because you're going by them so fast. And in Rock and Roller Coaster, that kind of static figure could probably work even better than it does in Incredicoaster because it's dark, It's dark, and, you're not really going to notice them not moving, but, I don't know. I know that, like, with Guardians of the Galaxy, we were supposed to have more animatronics and more stuff like that in the ride, and we kind of got projections and stuff instead, which I love. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. So maybe instead of animatronics in Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets, maybe we'll get some projection mapping, maybe stuff like that. I don't know. We really don't know. But I guess we'll find out sometime in summer of 2026. I don't know when my next trip to Walt Disney World is going to be, but I cannot wait to experience Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. Not because I'm happy about Aerosmith going away, but because I always love something new at Walt Disney World to experience. And speaking of new, this is kind of random. So if you're a Taylor Swift fan, you got to get over to Hollywood Studios because a few of her costumes from the Eras tour are on display at One Man's Dream. So actually, it's not called One Man's Dream anymore. What am I saying? It's called Walt Disney Presents. So Walt Disney Presents from Mickey Mouse to Magic Kingdom and beyond, that area where they have the, it used to be called One Man's Dream, that walk-through exhibit, kind of museum of Walt Disney's life. they have different like glass cases and displays towards the back where they promote their new films. And so before they had like Percy Jackson costumes, they had like Little Mermaid costumes before that, I believe. And so now they have Taylor Swift costumes that allegedly were worn during the Eras tour. They have 3 costumes, one of them worn during the Reputation part, one during the Midnights part, and one during the Tortured Poets Department part or era of the set. I know nothing about Taylor Swift. I am not a Swiftie at all. So I don't know if I'm getting all this stuff right, but apparently that's what these are. And they're on these mannequins with some photos next to it of her wearing them. So yeah, they seem to be the real deal. So if you want to see some stage-worn costumes from Taylor Swift, go check out Walt Disney Presents at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So more new stuff coming to Walt Disney World. The Encanto ride, we have some news about that. So we don't really know a whole lot about it. But what we just found out is that the original voice cast of Encanto, they're all coming back. They're all doing voices for the attraction, and in fact, they seem to be mostly done with their recording at this point. So Stephanie Beatriz as Mirabelle, John Leguizamo as Bruno, and everybody else coming back to reprise their roles. Even Alan Tudyk is going to provide vocal effects for Antonio's toucan friend, Pico. So, of course, the attraction centers around Antonio, and when he gets his gift to talk to animals, that is the tie into Animal Kingdom, where this attraction is going. Again, that's pretty much all we know. If you want to hear more about Encanto, the Encanto ride coming to Disney's Animal Kingdom, I just finished out a 3-part mini-series on the Mickey and Minutes podcast called Dismantling Dino Land, where I talked about the backstory for Dino Land USA and its attractions, as well as what's to come, Indiana Jones and Encanto. So the latest episode, which is actually the last episode I dropped on the podcast feed, is all about, well, mostly about Encanto and what we already know, as well as some speculation about it. There's a lot of speculation that it's going to be a trackless ride system, kind of like Mystic Manor. So listen to that podcast episode to hear more about that. But of course, the construction is already underway for this attraction. It's gone vertical, and yeah, not sure exactly when this is going to open, but it will be sometime in 2027. So look forward to that. I'm really excited whenever they add the authenticity of having the original voice cast reprise their roles. Notoriously, Tom Hanks does not do the voice of Woody for anything except for the movies. It's his brother, Jim Hanks, right? So anytime you hear Toy Story in the parks, that's not Tom Hanks. And, I get it, I guess. Tom Hanks is a busy A-list actor, but, it's a little weird sometimes. So it's always cool when they get the actual original voice cast back for that. I mentioned on a previous show that Mandy Moore has reprised her role of Rapunzel for all the narration for the Spinner ride coming to Hong Kong Disneyland. Their Tangled attraction there. It's kind of like a Teacups attraction. So again, always awesome when we get original voice cast back for this stuff. So I thought we'd end this MiM Monday with a nice kind of heartwarming story, I guess. And that is that legendary actor, Disney legend, Dick Van Dyke turned 100 years old on December 13th. That's crazy. So you should know who Dick Van Dyke is, but if you don't, he's a very famous actor, most famous for portraying Bert in Mary Poppins. He also had the Dick Van Dyke Show, which ran from 1961 through 1966, 158 episodes. He was also in the classic film Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and tons more. Looking at his IMDb page, he has like 84 acting credits, 7 producing credits, 42 soundtrack credits, and so much more. So he's a legend. He's a literal living legend, a Disney legend. And he turned 100. So that's crazy. Happy birthday, Dick Van Dyke, the one and only Bert. So yeah, very, very cool. Anyways, so that's a nice story to end on. Like I said at the top of this show, this was the last MIM Monday of the year. So MIM Monday, Mickey and Minutes Live, will return again Monday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time on January 12th. So mark your calendars, be there in the chat, and I'm sure we're gonna have a ton of Disney news to talk about between then and now. But just because MIM Monday isn't returning till January doesn't mean the podcast is gone for now. We actually have one more podcast episode. The final episode of Mickey and Minutes Season 7 will be out very, very soon. And it's going to be a very special Christmas episode. So on that episode, I'm going to be talking about some Christmas lists, and not Christmas lists in the way you think when you hear Christmas list, but lists, top 5 lists of different Disney Christmas related things. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a really fun episode. So I hope you stay tuned for that. That's going to be the finale of season 7. And if you want some more Mickey and Minutes Christmas content, you could always go back and listen to last year. We did like 3 great Christmas episodes last year that you can go find on the podcast feed. And just a few months ago, we did our Christmas in July episode all about Disney Christmas ornaments. So you could check that out as well. But anyways, thank you so much for supporting Mickey and Minutes, and especially for supporting this show, MIM Monday. This is something I started this year. This was a brand new idea that I had this year because I wanted to make Mickey and Minutes more of a conversation. And you guys showed up. You guys responded and showed up and made it something that I just really enjoy doing. Shout out to all you guys in the chat and everybody who's ever joined the chat at any point during the run of this show. It's been awesome. And obviously, thank you to everybody who's listened to this as a playback on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watched it on YouTube or Instagram Reels. Thank you so much. MIM Monday has become one of my favorite things to do with Mickey and Minutes. I love it so much. It's so much fun. And it's because of this great community that we built around MIM Monday and Mickey and Minutes. You guys are absolutely part of the Mickey and Minutes family. And I'm thankful for every single one of you guys. So I'm your host, Nick Lazaga. I just want to say Merry Christmas to all of you and Happy New Year. And I will see you next time. Bye. Hey, what's going on?